The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. I wanted to take a moment to thank everybody for taking time out of their busy schedule today to join us for this call. My name is Brad Lewis. I'm the National Marketing Director with Premier Companies, and we're excited to have you on today's call and look forward to sharing with you the opportunities with today's baby boomers that we have in the guaranteed issue whole life product arena. A little bit of housekeeping before we get the call started here. We do have an opportunity for you to enter questions that you have during today's calls. So if you would, your line will be muted during the call. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in and we'll address them at the end of the call. With us today, we have Bob Clancy. Bob Clancy is the Sales Vice President for the Western half of the United States for American General, AIG. He's an expert in the industry and is our partner with AIG in this guaranteed issue whole life product as well. I'm going to go ahead and turn the call over to Bob now, and he's going to walk us through the products that he has and also the opportunity that we see with the baby boomers.
Terrific.
Go ahead, Bob.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, Brad. All right. Good morning, everybody. We're going to just going to take a little time, go through the reason why we've entered this particular marketplace, in addition to the product design, and then also the process of how we've tried to simplify the quoting tool and the application process. I'm based in Denver, Colorado. As Brad said, I have 25 states that I cover. I also manage the accident and health line for the company. So traveled quite a bit, and I was glad I was able to be back here in Denver to go through this meeting with you. So moving forward, many of you on the line probably have a fairly good understanding as to what and why these type of products are becoming so popular. I mean, the potential sales opportunity projected is astronomical. We as a company entered here a little over 7 or 8 months ago and just slowly rolling out to selected organizations, and Premier certainly being one of the key accounts that we were interested in doing business with. You know, some of the things you need to know is, you know, less people are buying life insurance now than they ever have before. I think it's back in the early 50s, more people were buying life insurance, and there were less people living in this country than it is today. But the reality is, even though they're not buying life insurance, they recognize they don't want to burden their families with expenses when an event occurs, whether it be death or long-term care issues or med-sup, whatever the situation might be. And many of them say that they really do need to have more life insurance, but as age catches up, regrettably, you're not going to be as healthy as you thought you were earlier and may not be able to qualify it. So what they're really looking for is, I really don't want to have to take a medical exam if I don't have to. You know, I want to make sure that it's permanent. It's not something that I have to worry about every 10, 15, or 20 years down the road, that it'll go away. Again, they don't want to burden their families with additional expenditures if death occur, whether they be funeral expenses, credit card debt, or all those other normal process. In addition, you know, maybe leaving a legacy to their families. Not everyone can honestly say that they have enough money set aside that they wouldn't be able to transfer on to some loved ones. And then those individuals that are living on a fixed income really don't want to have any fluctuation in premiums. Let me just make sure I know what my bills are going to be and I can budget accordingly. This market has so many other potentials. The reality is, you know, it is that final expense, funeral costs, again, the costs just attributed to maybe uncovered medical bills. But, you know, maybe start looking at what are some of the other opportunities you can offer to a consumer that maybe might be a bit more affluent, that, you know, their health has changed, but, you know, they could purchase a policy that maybe they can leave a charity as being the benefactor or the beneficiary, if you will, of the money. Or maybe setting money aside when death occurs to help somebody in the family, starting their college funding program, or maybe even helping a young couple that's in their family or friends or associates, whoever they want, as a down payment. This could also be used in the business market, where possibly death occurs of one of the members, and it could help someone buy out the family unit. So many places for it to be utilized. As Brad was mentioning, the primary target is the baby boomer age, then the maturers also, which are older. We at AIG, American General, Had an arrangement set up with a gentleman named Cam Marston over the last few years on putting together types of descriptions of how to sell to various age brackets, millennials, Gen X, baby boomers. And I just thought I might share something here, just kind of help you when you're in that marketplace. If you haven't been there before, spending much time, baby boomers, the age brackets again are between 69 and born between 1946 and 1964. Normally pretty competitive individuals. They're team players. Always pretty optimistic, and they're also idealistic. They're young at heart. I am a baby boomer, and if you tell me I'm getting older, it's going to hurt me dramatically. So please don't if you ever meet each other. Workaholics, that's true. Whether they're currently working or if they've retired, they're always going to stay busy and very proud of their success. I think if you go into any baby boomer's office or their home or their den, you're going to see all types of trophies or awards and such that are there. And again, going back to the team players, they prefer FaceTime, and that world kind of changes a little bit here. Is that I know I had a situation not too long ago. My phone rang. I was in a business meeting, a lunch, and it was my daughter's phone, and it was my 3-year-old grandson who got a hold of it. He FaceTimed me to warn me that there was a fox in the backyard, and I better be cautious. Well, he lives 600 miles away, but he felt like he was very close to me. So, it really isn't. The FaceTime is one thing, but, in today's world, when we go through how we're going to do the process of selling this product, you might see some other options are available. So let me just go into some, again, in the sales process, you want to show optimism. Brand names are very important to them, and AIG's name is probably rather high on the list. The person-to-person communication, as I just went through that little overview, you can see how that works. Let them gain control. Give them enough details and let them decide exactly how they want this to go and move forward. But you're their guide, so you're the team player here. You're going to help them in not only this process and maybe suggest some other things that might be pertinent to their lives at that time. Giving them customized solutions, and I'll show you how this will look when we go through the sales process. Again, don't make them feel old, and then be very direct. One thing about baby boomers, unlike maybe millennials, they don't mind being pressured into making a decision. So when you go through and give them all the details and give them the rationale as to why they should do something, let them know that it's time to make a decision. It is time. You may do that with the younger people, and they may be taken back and not enjoy that. But as far as baby boomers, they are more open for that. So hopefully that's a little help in the sales model and to kind of paint a picture of maybe who some of the prospects you may have in your mind for this product. So let's go through the product design, and then we're going to go through how the processing works. It's guaranteed issue. Needless to say, no medical questions at all. From 5,000 to 25,000 in issue ages from 50 to 85 age last birthday. Because of it being a guaranteed issue product, we do have a graded death benefit for years 1 through 2, which will be, if death occurs, 110% of the premium will be paid to the beneficiaries. After that, it is full face amount, but we do have accidental death, which is starting in year 1. A unique feature, I didn't go through it on the baby boomer overview, but they always talk about selling the sizzle and not the steak. That's kind of important to them. Well, this is the sizzle. We have 2 built-in riders in the plan. One is a chronic illness rider that will return 100% of the premiums that they've paid into the policy, not to exceed 50% of the face value, if in fact they become chronically ill and lose 2 of their 6 daily activities. It'll be a lump sum payment. The policy then will still be in force, but they will have 1/2 of the death benefit if they did go up to 50% of the face value still in place. So again, chronic illness kind of sounds and smells a little bit like a long-term care. And if you think about it, if they did happen and they had a long-term care policy, but there's a waiting period, some of these funds could be used to offset some expenditures that may have happened before the long-term care kicks in. Secondarily, we've got a terminal illness benefit rider. So if the individual is deemed terminally ill with only 24 months left to live, then we will pay 50% of the death benefit. So those are 2 built-in riders that add a little bit more to the story in lieu of just death being a triggering point. Some key things you need to know about this, and certainly a lot of this will be in other other documents that we will share with you through Premier. But the insured must be the owner. The payor can be someone different, but they do have to be either a U.S. citizen or a green card holder. So a Social Security number will be required for the transaction. Only one policy can be purchased by a individual for a in a 12-month period of time. And I'll go through something here will help you with that endeavor. And then also the insured can't get more than $25,000 of our GIWL policy from American General. There's no replacements, so on an application, if it does say that this is a replacement, it'll be bounced out, and there is no conversion for other products that they may own with American General over to this plan. The payment options are bank draft, credit card, or Social Security debit card, and they can set up a delayed billing if they so desire at a specific date, maximum 28 days out from when the policy goes into force. Like any guaranteed issue policy, there has to be some protection for all parties. So in the event that the policy was lapsed in the first 6 months, there would be a chargeback of 25% of commissions and nothing after that for lapse. If death occurs in the first year, it is 100%. And if it is in the second year, it would be 50%, but then after that, no chargebacks. Just a brief overview that we have of when we first had this product putting out into the marketplace back in September. Here's a comparison between other companies that are in the space, though I'm wondering if Met is still in the space. I need to do a little research on that. But here we are with our face value, $5,000 to $25,000, very competitive with the others. Same thing with the issue ages, the graded benefit option, right within the normal parameters that you would want to see in the marketplace. And then when you look at the chronic illness benefit or the terminal illness benefit, at the time that this was done, we haven't seen anyone else that has that in their particular plan. So hopefully that will be a competitive edge for you, and again, a good selling point, selling that sizzle in addition to selling the steak, so to speak. The key here is speed of sale and making sure that all the documentation, all the forms, all the signatures are in the right place, because the last thing you want to deal with, and it happens way too often anymore, is having to go back to the client and say, we missed something, or I didn't get this information, or we didn't sign here. So what we've done is we've developed a platform, we call it a tool, that gives you the opportunity not only to run proposals, but then to be able to complete an application or to print out a paper application for signature. And we will go through this process here showing you how it works. You can use this either with a smartphone, because all you need to do is have access to the internet and a web address that'll take you in. It'll be specific to you. I'll explain that here in a second. A tablet, or even a laptop. So the sales process can be done very well, very quickly, efficiently. We can validate premiums, making sure that the payments are there and that all the information for that specific state was completed so that you don't have to go back to that consumer. So let's talk about how the process works. You will only have access to the tool, the application processing platform, by being contracted through Premier with American General. So the first step that you need to do is get a contract. Even if you have a life contract with us, or if you had an A&H contract or annuity contract, you have to have a specialty markets contract, and you'll have a different code that will be issued specifically for this product. Once you get that code, you'll receive an email, and it'll tell you how to sign into the platform. And you will set up your own username and set up a unique password for yourself, and then you will log in. Now, as I said, there's 3 different ways in which to submit business. It can be done in a paper form, it can be done by emailing it to the client, or it can be done face-to-face with the client and having them sign electronically. This is how long the application is, which isn't very long at all. As we said, not many medical questions. As I mentioned earlier, a couple of the knockouts that you need to be aware of if you're doing a paper application, because there isn't a way for the system to tell you that you didn't answer it correctly, is individuals have to be U.S. citizens, green card holders, and you have no replacement going on. If you're working in an office and you sign on, and if you have paper applications that you're processing or you're utilizing, you can't print out and give them to your associates unless they are very charity minded, because every application is going to have your name, your agent number, and there's a barcode that will also be embedded here. So if they're out there writing business, you're going to get paid, not them. So everyone that wants to run a proposal and have their own credit and their own application they have to be signed on individually and get a code. So if we're using this process, how do we get started? Well, again, you sign on to the tool, and then we'll go through here what the agent experience is, and then also we'll talk about what the customer's experience is to help you understand what they're going to have to do during the process. So this is the starting page. As you come into the tool, it'll show what the application process is, a quick overview of the plan, that it's guaranteed acceptance, there's no medical exam, the face value, the chronic illness rider, and the like. And if you look at the top of the screen up here, you'll see there's a quote bar, you'll see there's a forms tab, and then the name of the agent, which would be yourself. This is going to be your dashboard, which is going to keep track of all of the business that you have, ways for you to be able to do some communications on your business. The forms tab, this is really used primarily for the paper app side. So when you have marked in what state that you're in and that you pick the volume of coverage, then the application will populate. You'll complete that. There'll be additional forms that the client has to state that they did see or they did read, which you can email to the client, but that would be for the paper app. So we're just going to, I kind of showed you what that was, but we're going to look at the electronic process here today, and we can certainly always help follow up. So we're going to run a quote. So we want to make sure that the client's aware that American General is the company that's issuing the policy, that it's guaranteed issue, what the issue ages are, and also what the maximum amount of coverage that they can purchase. And once that's acknowledged, then you hit the continue button. And this is that you acknowledge that you've shared this with the client. And then we go into getting a quote. Not very difficult to do. We pick a face value. In this case, it shows $20,000. Gender is male, date of birth, and the state is Tennessee. Once you have that, then of course all of the information and all the paper app or the questions that needed for the state of Tennessee will already be in the queue. And then just to help you and also the client understand that, you decided on $20,000 worth of coverage, and maybe it was based off of X number of dependents or whatever the number of decisions that were done, but we will give you an upsell opportunity. So here's the quote for $20,000. It'll show a monthly premium of $101, but it'll also show that if they increased up by $5,000, that it would only be an increase of $25 per month. And the client may decide, I might as well purchase all that I possibly can now, because remember, you can only have one application per 12-month period. So this might help them. This is a tipping point to have them move over. So then they'll say, yes, let's go with the $25,000. So then we will start the application process. Then we'll go into, again, the consent and commitment that, we make sure that the client understands this. Now, at this point in time, you're either sitting with the client and you're showing them the screen and you're going through this, or you're talking to them on the phone, and ultimately you will be sending all this information to them in an email. So this is the process. Again, we'll talk about the fact that is there a 2-year limited death benefit, that there is an accidental death component, that there is also the chronic illness and the terminal illness. It's just really, again, all the acknowledgement. We want everyone to be upfront that they know exactly what they're buying. Being in the senior market, that's always very important. The premiums will always be showing up in the top portion of your proposal. And once we click the application, then we start the question. First one is there any replacement going on? So the answer comes back, yes, that'll bounce out automatically. And then, are you a U.S. citizen, or do you have a permanent legal residence green card? And if the answer is no, then it's going to bounce it out. Other than that, you move forward. And as you go through each one of these sections and answering these questions, I know the screen's a little light here, but you'll have a chance to play with this once you get licensed with Premier. If you miss something, it'll be highlighted in red, and it'll tell you to, make sure you have that done before you can move forward. And then we'll go into what the beneficiary designation is, and then also what the type of payment process is going to be, whether it's going to be bank draft, credit card, or if it was going to be a Social Security debit card. Once we have that done, then we go into how are we going to get this signed. Now, as I said earlier, you have the opportunity of sitting with the client. You could be either using your phone, a pad, or your laptop, and you could click on the e-sign document now, and that would click, and it would open up the process, and you and the client would follow the instructions, and the client then would do an electronic signature, and you'd submit the application to us. They could also use a touch, it could be a finger touch, or it can be a signature on the screen of a tablet, if that be the case. In this situation, what I want to show you is the send email to the client. We think a good portion of the sales will be this way, as you're not needing to drive across the countryside to go visit with someone. You can talk to them on the phone, probably an existing person you know real well, go through the wholesale scenario, and then you'll be emailing it to them. We do have voice signature capabilities at this particular time. To qualify for voice signature, you'll have to sign a voice signature agreement, which more or less states that you have the type of equipment that can maintain and keep all conversations for at least 7 years in the event that there were any questions that were surfaced. So that's a separate option. We can talk with the people from Premier if you've kind of fit in that profile to get those agreements. But let's just go through now that we're going to use the electronic signature, email it to the client. So we're going to submit. It'll pop up on the screen to double check that you have the correct e-signature address. I've got big fingers sometimes and type in the wrong thing. So you want to double check that, because that's only the way that the client's going to see this application. So we say we'll continue, and this is what the client will receive in an email form. And it'll tell them, here is your application for your guaranteed issue. Review the document. The client goes through the process. They'll see some of the screens that we saw here. Very simple instructions. Then click on the e-signature, and then he'll submit, or she will submit that to us. And then they'll receive a confirmation, as you will also, that the that the information was sent to AIG, and we'll move forward once their document is completed. Now for you, as you're going through these cases, you'll have a number of them that are being on this particular tool. What we will do is we will give you a running tally of the status of those cases. And if you see here on the right-hand side, and someone was using this back during the holiday season, so I apologize for the Santa Claus, Kris Kringle, and all alike, but it'll say that, XYZ case, the first one, Santa Claus, is in progress. And the days open there, that really is not something that will really be those someone just put in numbers. Normally, when you first started running a quote, that's when the clock would start, even if you didn't do anything. You might have X number of cases, 3 of them that are pending, or 2 of them are pending e-signature, which means that they were emailed to the client and they haven't yet opened it up to send it. Or it's pending submission. Maybe we knew that you sent it, but it doesn't show that they actually received it. Or maybe there was some kickback, something of that nature, and I'll talk about that here in a second. So we want to keep you informed as to the status of those cases. It's a running tally. And then also you'll see the cases that were completed. And, hopefully you'll have multiple pages of here, which means that your income is going to be increasing on a regular basis. If, in fact, you haven't had any back response from the client, you haven't seen who says it's still in waiting for submission, you could always hit a resend button that will send it to the client. Or maybe you found out that they had the wrong email address. The client said, I didn't get it. You have the option then just to resend it to them. Or maybe you end up meeting with them and you did it online, just with the 2 of you sitting face to face, or you did a paper app, whatever was most convenient. Then you can cancel the e-signature and it'll pull it out of your dashboard, so you don't have to worry about having to keep track of that particular one. If you've got a client that has been a little hesitant and you're hearing from them on phone calls or something, you could really become very pesty by doing a automatic submission every 5 days. The client will get a reminder that they have this outstanding requirement until they call you and tell you either to stop or that they haven't seen the original one, and then we'll have to go back and then go through the resubmission process. So that's the electronic signature process. Again, you have paper opportunity. You've got the ability to sit in front of the client or emailing it to them, as I just went through it. The product is approved in the good majority of the entire U.S. Pennsylvania was just recently improved, and we're getting that onto the platform, onto the tool. I can't give you an answer on New York or Maine at this particular point in time. We haven't yet got to the point where we know there's any opportunity to get this in the system. We do have 2 states, though, that had a little bit of a challenge with the chronic illness or the terminal illness rider. California, regrettably, did not accept the chronic illness or terminal illness rider. We certainly still have a very competitive price product to sell in that state. And then Washington, D.C. did not accept the chronic illness rider. But other than that, all across the U.S., you've got the product availability plus those unique features of the rider of chronic illness and death benefit, accelerated death benefit. So we offer you all types of support and background. Premier is your first line of contact. We do have a playbook that is available, and I'll open it up here after I switch over back to Brad, but I'll let you see it. But we also have a 800 number when you do get licensed with us and you do have that specialty markets code with American General that you can call if you have questions on product. Premier is always your first line of contact, but if you're outside normal hours or so, you can call that particular number for that, or tech support if you're having some issues with your platform signing in or something isn't going right on the transfer of the applications to your clients. We have, producer guides, we have client guides, we have rate cards, reasons why you want to purchase the coverage. So with all that, I think this is a pretty clean, efficient, quick way in which to turn around the sales process for you and your clients. And with that, I will turn this back over to Brad.
Thanks, Bob. That was some really good information. Just a few quick takeaways that I had from Bob's presentation there, because I think they're worth repeating, is he showed a slide for baby boomers that talked about key communication strategies, how to communicate with the baby boomers. That was really a nice piece. That's a market that obviously everybody on the call is probably in today, so that really helps how to communicate, what to do. And one of the key takeaways I had there as well was asking for the sale. I think that's something we could all ask for the business more often. And then selling the sizzle as well. And the product itself, what really sets this product apart is the couple different riders that it has available. Not only is it very, very competitive in the industry, but the chronic illness and terminal illness benefit really does a good job of setting this product apart from all the rest out there. So the online e-application process, that's just the ease of doing business for you as well. So we do have a few questions we'd like to get through here, so I'll go ahead and read those off and let Bob answer those. Okay. The first one was Larry, and Larry was asking about the state approval list. Bob was able to show that to us here at the end of the presentation, and we can get you a copy of that as well. Second question was from Alan. Alan had a question about the chronic illness. Does it have to be diagnosed as being permanent?
No, it's just chronically a loss of 2. It's not permanent.
Okay, so hopefully, Alan, that answers your question there. And then a follow-up question there on.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Just the follow-up question was terminal illness or chronic illness paid out. Does premium reduce in half?
No, it doesn't. But they are paid out in lump sum. They're not paid out in installments. So.
Okay. We had a question from Dolores. Can they purchase $25,000 and a year later purchase another $25,000 in coverage?
$25,000 is the maximum they could have with American General for a GIWL product. So
Okay.
It's only $25,000.
All right, so we could sell them $10,000 this year, $10,000 next year. That wouldn't be a problem. But once we meet that threshold, then then they've completed. So.
Right, and that's why we do that upsell on the proposal, so that the client knows, because remember, they can only purchase one policy in a 12-month period. So, maybe it's better just to remind them they may want to purchase all of it now. So.
Perfect. This question comes from Mitch. Mitch's question is, if the agent has a touchscreen laptop or tablet and is face-to-face with the client, can they sign the documents on that particular device?
Yes.
Okay. This question is from Greg, asking why we can't provide a contingent beneficiary.
That's something we're working on. It's really more of a system situation. The individuals that put this together, I won't say it was an oversight, but it is part of an ongoing conversation. So stay tuned. We will have better communication on that. That's all I can say right now.
Great, that's good news on that. So, David's question is there different rates for smokers on this particular product?
Yes.
Okay. And Greg's question, what evidence is needed to receive the chronic illness rider, and what if the insured is already unable to perform 2 of 6 ADLs at the time of application?
Well, the first is we would have, there's a claim form that would be needed to be completed for the chronic illness rider. Everything that I've seen, it says that it's immediate. But I'm going to double check so I want to make sure that we have that, because if the client has not, if they purchased the policy and they already have the chronic illness situation, then it's an immediate claim and there's no premiums that have been paid as of yet, so there's nothing that they can receive. That makes sense? You follow what I'm saying? So
yeah.
But we will double check on that. So let's make sure that we get back to him on the.
Okay, so Greg, we'll get back to you on that question. All right, this question comes from David. Other than not having the social, are there any other knockouts for the application process?
Again, replacement. There can't be replacement, and the citizenship.
Okay. John, you were asking for a copy of the presentation for reference. We have some of that material available, so we'll reach out to you and make sure that we get you some of that information.
Yeah, can you see my screen? Does it show the playbook?
It does.
Okay, so this is, just so everyone, this is the playbook that you would have access to that will give you not only overview of the product, it'll go through any number of different opportunities that are part of doing business with American General. We do have a platform called eStation, which when you are a licensed agent with us, you have access to. This will not only keep track of all the outstanding business that you have, but it'll track your compensation. It'll track other communications that you may have with the company, that are specific to to your cases. In addition to having access to marketing materials and the like that are may not be a part of all this. There's our Forms Depot. In addition, we'll get all the product information that I mentioned earlier. So there's product highlights, rate cards, annual rate calculator, producer's guide for yourself. And then there are 2 different training PowerPoints that have voiceovers that were done out of our Houston office. and you could click either on the PowerPoint presentation or you can click on the webcast and go through it. One of them will be more detailed on the paper application process. The other one will be on more of what I just went through now on the e-signature and emailing it to the client. And then we have some other marketing materials that we'll be discussing, and this will be updated on a regular basis. So once you have that link on your computer, save it, and when you go into it, any updates that'll be there. If you see something coming soon, it'll be updated when it's completed.
Perfect. That's one of the nice things about AIG is they really consolidate the information all in one place. So everything's sourced, easy to find. We use these all day long in communicating with the people that we work with, so it's always a great resource. I do have a couple additional questions here we'll get to. The MIB check, is there an MIB check on this product?
No, there isn't. No medical questions.
And Ron, you asked if we're recording the call. We are, so we'll be able to get you a full playback of that. David, you asked about the client PowerPoint presentation. The material that's approved is what Bob just went through the playbook that's available. And David, you asked about a lead program for that, so we'll definitely reach out to you on that and let you know what Premier has available for a lead program. And Rojan, you had a question in regards to commissions, so we'll reach out to you directly on that as well. And then Jim Watts had a question, is terminal illness benefit paid in the first 2 years?
Yes.
Okay. Kevin, this product is available now. And I'm reading, let's see here, so you have that question. Alan asked, with available on credit card and different payer, he was just making a comment, this is excellent for charitable donations. Is it, let's see here, let me read through it the rest of the way here. I'll follow up with Alan on that question, just make sure I clarify what exactly he's looking for, if there's anything additional, if it's just a comment.
Okay.
And let me just cycle through the rest of these. Make sure there's nothing we didn't cover. Does chronic mean permanent? I believe that may have been asked already. Does that mean it has to be permanent?
It's chronic illness, chronically ill that they can't perform 2 of the 6 daily activities.
Okay, perfect. All right. That looks like that's all the questions at the moment.
Okay, I don't have anything except for the, let's see. Oh, did I just sign out? No.
I just think you went to a different tab on your e-station there.
Can you see the guaranteed issue whole life for again? I think I erred on the smoking. There is no smoking question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So all rates are the same for the product?
Right, so male, female, well, they're, yeah, different age brackets, certainly in female and male, but yeah. Because we asked no medical questions, so.
Okay. All right, that looks like that's all the questions, Bob. So right. I appreciate you being on the call with us today, and I want to thank all the attendees for joining us. We did record the call, so if you need to listen to it again, we'd be happy to get that over to you. In addition, all of our marketers are standing by and ready to take your call as well. We're anxious and happy to work with you. So you can reach us at 1-800-365-8208 and ask for a final expense marketer, and we'd be happy to take your call. Well, thanks again, everybody, for joining the call, and thank you, Bob, for joining us as well.
Great. Well, I wish everybody great success. Good luck. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.